Hey, Spirits Vessel here, and I'm doing the June 2019 tarot reading for Aries, Sun, Moon, and Rising. I did all the fire signs first because I love us just so damn much. And I love Aries. I love Aries energy. I'm a Sagittarius, and so we live in the world of ideas a lot of the time. Whereas Aries, you guys, the second you get an idea, you're already taking action on it, and I love that. You guys have that cardinal initiatory energy to you, and I just dig it so much. So let's see what's going on with my Rams. It's been kind of an interesting period with fire signs in general. I feel like Aries season was really, really awesome for fire signs, and then Taurus season kind of got a little bit wonky again. It's not like it's not like Taurus season was bad. It wasn't. It was just different, and that Scorpio full moon had a lot more power to it than other full moons. It almost hit me like that Leo moon, that Leo eclipse back in I believe it was January. But yeah, so we're going into Gemini season, and let's see if Gemini lightens the energy a little bit, which I think it will for Aries. Oh no. What's going on, Aries? Okay. Oh hell. It's all good. It's all good, guys. It's not that bad. Oh my goodness. Okay. I'm gonna sip of this. All right. Very different reading than Sagittarius and Leo. Man, you guys have been beating yourself up over shit. Big time. Big time. And there's so many swords cards in this reading. Out of the 9 cards, 4 of them are swords. Swords in astrology it's of the mental realm. It talks about air energy. It's mental energy, and a lot of the sword energy is sharp. Swords are sharp. Your words can be sharp too. I think you've been beating yourself up over I think you've been holding yourself to a standard that's not even attainable. Um, the nine of swords is this card is always a self-inflicted kind of pain, and it's always like it's like waking up out of a dream, like a nightmare, and regret. It's like extreme regret. Um, and what's interesting with this card is that you can see this person is sleeping in a blanket with a bunch of astrological symbols. So it's kind of like being blanketed by fate, if you will. And there's a fighting scene going on this bed here. So it's kind of like waking up out of this dream, this war like dream. And it's interesting because Chiron just moved into Aries a couple of months ago. And we're healing a lot of war karma. There's a lot of wounded warrior energy that's being healed. And Aries is the warrior. It is the warrior archetype, hands down. And I think a lot of you Aries people are coming home from the war. And it all took place in the mental realm. You've been at war with yourself for a very long time. If you notice the swords, what chakras they're going through, you've got the crown chakra there, you've got the third eye right there, and then you've got the heart chakra right here. And because it's those three chakras up there, and it's swords, so swords is always like communication, like throat energy. It's all in your head. You know, this is like this is a war that's taking place in your own head. It's like there hasn't been an outlet for this massive amount of mental energy that's been going on. So where else are you going to have an outlet? On yourself. What I do notice is that I do believe that there is an end coming to the war. It's probably not going to be a, you know, it's not exactly, it's not exactly the happiest end. I mean, if you look at it, this guy he's dead. You know, this is, and tens always signify the end of something. So you pretty much reached rock bottom. You can't go any further, and you can only go up from rock bottom. And this card was reversed. So I think outwardly people are noticing that your anxiety is getting bad, even if you're not noticing it. But I think inwardly, the people in your life may not understand that there is it's like it's always darkest before the dawn. And so it's just like one last little hurrah of anxiety before there's a transformation taking place. And I say that things are shifting because I see the Ace of Swords right there. I see the Ace of Swords right here. It's a starting over. Okay. So I think, kind of how I'm reading this here, I think there's something that's been really weighing on you, Aries, and it's something to do with the past. And I really do think there's going to be a new way of thinking, and the way it shifts, it's like a light switch that gets turned on. It's like all of a sudden you're like, oh, I don't have to do things like that. That's actually not the most efficient way for me to do things. If I beat myself up, that doesn't get me to stop doing the thing that I'm beating myself up over, you know? And I think there's a new project you're beginning. And because the Ace of Pentacles is here and it's reversed, I think it's an inward house you're building. And what I mean by that is that it's not quite fully baked yet. You know, the idea is being solidified. because you just got the Ace of Swords. So it's going to take a minute. It's starting to turn into this Ace of Pentacles. It's like, light bulb went off. Okay, got it. The light bulb's on. I see. And now I'm taking the steps to make it more grounded and make it more practical and make it real instead of just a thought. And it's kind of interesting how there's two, it's like you go from this dream, this anxiety nightmare that you've been in, to all of a sudden you're the High Priestess. You have two aces here. So there's a starting of something new, 100% is this, and one is Aries energy. That is initiatory energy. Definitely a starting of something new. And it's interesting because you go straight to the High Priestess. So there's this, how I'm kind of reading it is that I think just something happens. Either someone says something, you get new news. There is something that's delivered, and I think it's going to be delivered in a very Gemini sort of way. So it's going to be a conversation you have with someone, and it triggers this High Priestess energy inside of you. This High Priestess energy of you understanding that all you have to do is make a choice. The energy's already there. All you have to do is make the decision to actually do it. But before you can get rid of that block that's been stopping you from doing it, you've got to hit this rock bottom right here, because it's like old stale energy that needs to just come up and be grieved over and be let go of. So you might find that in June, and I'm kind of feeling like it's the second, third week of June, it might feel really heavy. Yeah, it's like, I think by the time we get to the Sagittarius full moon, it'll be out. And whatever is stuck there, I think that Sagittarius full moon will really illuminate it. And you can set an intention that night too to let it go during that full moon if you like. If you feel like it's still weighing on you really heavy. But regardless, it's interesting because the second this is out of the way, everything else is great. You have a celebratory card here. You've got the Strength card. The four of Wands is always a good card to have, especially after you hit a rock bottom. It's like a celebration period. It's a triumph. And it's stability. Fours are stable. That's a stable number to build a house on. That's a stable foundation. And you move on to the Strength card. So whatever this is, whatever this thing you've been at war with, this belief, I believe it's a mental limitation. You win that war. And I believe internally you become the Queen of Swords because of it. If you've been stifling yourself, stifling your communication, maybe you haven't been completely honest with others, with yourself. Maybe you've been hiding a part of yourself. Maybe you felt like you couldn't be in your full truth because it might offend other people. The Queen of Swords, she doesn't really care about offending you as long as you know you got the truth. She's very direct and cutting. And Swords energy can be that way. And I think you're becoming that Queen of Swords. If you've been stifling yourself for a while, people might find you as a little bit testy. You know, you're starting to say what you mean, and not stepping back and not apologizing for it. It's always a shame to me when I see Aries people apologizing for shit. Any fire sign in general, I'm just like, oh my God, what happened to you? I'm obviously apologizing when you're in the wrong, you know, sure, go for it. But like the overly apologetic stuff, that is not becoming of Aries. And internally, you're really satisfied coming in towards the end of the month. I think while we're in Gemini season, I think when we move to Cancer season, which is interesting, for Sagittarius and Leo, while we were in Gemini season, felt really good. When we start moving into Cancer season towards late June, it seemed like it might get kind of wonky. But with you guys, it's different. Gemini is really bringing a lot of the mental limitations you've had to the surface. I think because there's so much mental energy going on, and you're starting to analyze your thoughts and really look at them and be like, whoa, if I think this, or if I don't believe I'm capable of achieving this, this must mean I have this limiting belief going on, or I have this limitation. Where is that coming from? I think there's a lot of self-reflection going on for Aries during Gemini season. But once you're in Cancer season, I think you're it's like you guys are golden after that. I want to pull some more cards in regards to the Ten of Swords. Oh. Okay, so whatever this has been, whatever this rock bottom is, it's coming to an end quick. I was waiting for this Tower card to come. I was like, there's a lot of transformation going on, but no one's got the Tower yet. You know, Aries does. Aries has the Tower. And the Tower is swift. You don't see it coming. Hopefully you see this reading and you will see it coming. But the Tower card, it's always a destruction of the foundation. When the Tower card comes, everything has to be destroyed. You have to be rebuilt from the ground up. And because we have the Ten of Pentacles coming in reversed, it is because this is describing the Ten of Swords. The swords are mental. This is a identity. This is 100% an identity. This is a reality that's been constructed based off of a lot of negative isn't necessarily the right word, because at one point in your life, it was a very positive thing to have these limitations. They helped. Unfortunately, this is like years and years of baggage getting cleared out, and it's coming from something outward. You know, there's an outer Tower moment that has you go to the Hermit and has you go inward for answers. And like I said, you know, that Strength card is coming in. There's that Four of Wands right afterwards. I don't think this is going to be really bad. I think it's going to be shocking. But I think there's going to be a quick recovery. and it's going to make you stronger. I don't see any like 5 of cups or 8 of cups, um, or like a 6 of swords. You know, if like the 6 of swords came in where you're just like, ah, I have this baggage, but I gotta move on. I don't see any of that. That's not here. It seems like there's an immediate celebration afterwards. So sometimes having a tower come in is not a bad thing. Sometimes we need to have shit destroyed for new life, for new growth. Sometimes you need wildfires are destructive, but sometimes you need them because you need new growth in the forest. So don't be scared, you know? Let's pull a final card. And you know, I'm gonna pull a little bit page. Okay. All right. Okay. So I think there's a new foundation you're building for yourself. There's a newness here. You've got 2 ace cards in this reading, and you've got a page of pentacles. The page is new energy. Either it could be from, you know, like a literal like young child page type thing, or it's just a newness. It's a new energy coming in. And I think you're getting in touch with a part of yourself that you haven't been in touch with for a while. And I think the reason you're able to get in touch with that part of you is because that 10 of Swords moment's going to happen. And it's going to remove this block that's been there for quite a while. And you can allow yourself to really come in. I think you're starting to become a Hierophant yourself. I think you're starting to really trust in your knowingness, not just, oh, you know, like I know this to be true because I did a bunch of research and I proved it to be true. I think you're starting to understand that sometimes you just know things and you don't need any explanation for it. You just know. And I think you're stepping into that. But to step into a knowingness, you have to get rid of blockages. You really do. You have to be able to allow yourself to be in that flow state. Because I see the 4 of Swords coming in reversed and there's this Hermit card here, I don't really see a lot of outward activity going on. There's only one, well, there's 2 Wands cards in the reading. I think this is a time of a lot of self-reflection, a lot getting new information, dissecting it, applying it to your life, and really understanding how much you've held yourself back in certain ways. And the 4 of Swords is always a time of rest. It's a rest period. You're coming in after the war. So this is the second time during this spread that I've been really feeling like Aries are coming home from a war that they've been fighting with themselves. And the 6 of Wands is a good card to end on. It's celebratory. It's not long lasting, but that's a good way to end the month. You know, having a nice little, you know, coming back from this war. You won the fight, whatever it was. And I just kind of want to end with a little bit of a story. You know, back in World War II, there was a lot of remote islands that the Japanese were on. And, you know, the war was over in the 40s. But the last Japanese soldier to be told that the war was over was like in 1970 something. It was 30 years after the war was over. Can you imagine? World War II's been over for 30 years and you've just been on this remote island the entire time. Like, you don't just switch that off. You know, like you can't just come home from a war and completely switch that off. You know, it takes some time. And there's certain ways we act when we're in war. There's certain ways we limit what we can do in a war, because you have to just think about surviving when you're in a war. So I think, Aries, you've realized that the war's been over for quite a while. But how do you become a civilian again? And how can you apply what you learned from that war out into the world? And I think you're figuring that out. And I think June you're going to have a lot of revelations come, especially during that Sagittarius full moon. You're going to have a lot of aha moments where you're like, I remember who I am. I'm a badass warrior, but I'm not necessarily at war anymore. So how can I be that full warrior that I know I am without starting a bunch of fights and starting a bunch of battles, whether externally or internally? So that's the reading for Aries, June 2019. If you like this reading, like the video, subscribe to my channel, and if you would like a personal reading, you can email me at spiritsvessel@gmail.com. Thank you so much. I will see you next time.